The chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission decides to step down.
Syrian government denies the claim that rebels shot down a fighter jet. I am Ravi Gamage.
And I'm Punshani Edrisinghe.
The news starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on MTV Sports.
Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
King of Swaziland says that the president there has a lot to learn from his Sri Lankan counterpart. Retired officials to be recruited if the electricity employees on strike do not report to work tomorrow. Farmers in Surya were engaged in a protest for the second consecutive day. After less than 9 months in the post of chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, decides to resign amid pressure.
Starting off with local news, as a solution to the ongoing strike launched by a group of employees attached to the Ceylon Electricity Board, steps have been taken to recruit retired officers to carry out the duties of those who are on strike. The Ceylon Electricity Board said that if electrical superintendents and technicians fail to report to work tomorrow, the board will be compelled to resort to this decision. Issuing a media release, the CEB states that employees in other grades are also likely to be replaced if they do not report to work tomorrow. However, trade unions attached to the CEB who are on strike say that they will continue to press for their demands.
The strike action launched by two trade unions of the Ceylon Electricity Board based on several demands entered into its fourth day today. The CEB Joint Trade Union Alliance and the CEB Joint Technical Front are engaged in the strike action. Representatives of these trade unions met with the Labour Commissioner today to inform him regarding the arbitrary actions taken by the governing body of the CEB against several employees.
The
CEB is being maintained today through arbitrary spending and large sums of money paid to contractors. But when the power supply is disrupted, the responsibility is borne by the CEB. No matter what they say, the Norachole power plant does not function. The CEB must bear responsibility for this as well. Now they are preparing for power cuts. Tomorrow they are going to recruit around 5,000 new employees. You cannot operate the CEB with the new blood. This is an A-grade institution. We request the consumers to safeguard their electric appliances. The government has always taken foolhardy actions like this. The government is trying to operate the CEB with new recruits. We will not be held responsible for this. Meanwhile, the CEB states that over 50% of its employees reported to work across the island today. The board states that the unions engaged in the strike action are engaged in acts of sabotage to disrupt the electricity supply. The CEB says that employees who intend to report to work are being intimidated. The board says that the army has been put on alert to prevent such threats. The CEB administration states that employees who receive threats can inform the army on the hotline 011 307 5792. The CEB says that complaints relating to acts of sabotage to disrupt the electricity supply can be notified to the relevant officials by dialing the emergency hotline 119. Meanwhile, at a media briefing convened today, General Secretary of the United National Party said that the subject minister had made an important statement on the Norachole power plant. His eyes have been opened after a while. He had said that he is not satisfied with the construction of the plant. He said that the company will be sternly asked to rectify this problem. Who built the Norachole power plant? They speak of it as if it was built by the UNP government. The Norachole power plant was built by Mahinda Rajapaksa's government. They have constructed this power plant with substandard equipment which was discarded by China. Aspirations have not been met. More money is being spent on repairs than was spent in constructing it. Who should be held responsible for this? Is it the people?
The King of Swaziland, Swati III, who is on a 3-day official visit to the island, met President Mahinda Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo today.
The King of Swaziland and his wife were welcomed by the President and First Lady Shivanti Rajapaksa. Here, King Swati was accorded a 21-gun salute. The King of Swaziland, during the bilateral meeting with President Rajapaksa, had said that Sri Lanka demonstrated resilience to economic shock which paralyzed many economies of the world during the recent fiscal crisis. He had further said that President Rajapaksa was a champion of peace in the South Asian region and has successfully put an end to terrorism. President Mahinda Rajapaksa meanwhile had said that Sri Lanka will always remember and appreciate the support extended by Swaziland in the international fora. According to a media communique issued by the Presidential Secretariat, the two leaders emphasized the importance of enhancing economic ties, diversify products in trade and encourage building private-public partnerships between the two countries. Following bilateral discussions, an agreement on economic, commercial and technical cooperation was signed between Sri Lanka and Swaziland.
"20,000 hectares of farmlands affected owing to the dry weather conditions. We hope to take speedy steps to provide relief. Expedite the payment of compensation for damaged crops." The President. 3,665 million rupees allocated as drought relief. A cabinet decision. Official reports have not been received regarding the farmlands that were affected owing to the drought. Mahinda Amravira, Minister of Disaster Management. When will the drought relief, which has given rise to a tug of war between ministers, be given to the farmers?
Meanwhile, for the second straight day today, farmers in Suryavava staged a demonstration to press the authorities to provide them a solution to the blocked waterway which nourishes farmlands in the area. The demonstration was held near the Katuwava Bridge in Hambantota.
Representatives of 31 farm organizations in the area engaged in the demonstration this morning at the Katuwava junction. The farmers charged that due to the blocked waterway, farmlands in the Mahapalasa, Badigamtota and Minivallara areas have been destroyed. This is taking place because of political intervention. The innocent people of Mahindapura have to walk 50 kilometers to obtain water. There is no water. Please provide us some water, at least from the Samanala reservoir. The demonstrators made their way to the Katuwava Bridge from the Katuwana junction, obstructing vehicular movement along the Colombo-Kataragama main road. The army and the police intervened to remove the demonstrators from the road. Thereafter, Additional District Secretary of Hambantota W.A. Dharmasri arrived at the location and engaged in a discussion with the farmers. When inquired on the outcome of the discussion, Dharmasri said that the illegally constructed blockade will be removed. The Additional District Secretary of Hambantota also said that even though there is insufficient water, steps will be taken to ensure equitable distribution of water among farmers.
Less than 9 months since taking up office, Tilak Karunaratne says that he has decided to resign as the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission within the course of this week. In an interview with News First, he said that investors who are being investigated for market manipulation had made false allegations against him. Tilak Karunaratne was appointed as the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission late last year.
The Colombo Stock Exchange, which was one of the fastest growing exchanges in the world only last year, has declined rapidly in recent times. The exchange has plunged more than 20% this year alone. The Securities and Exchange Commission, which is the regulatory body that governs the activities of the Colombo Stock Exchange, pointed out on numerous occasions that this decline was caused by a pump and dump strategy employed by numerous high net worth investors. The SEC took steps to introduce numerous regulations in order to prevent such mechanisms from being employed. Incidentally, a number of heads of the SEC have resigned after attempting to implement tougher regulations in recent times.
And the pressure is exerted by this mafia, the stock exchange mafia, and that some other so-called high net worth investors and a small group of brokers who are hand in glove with these racketeers. So, and unfortunately, they are so powerful, they can exert pressure at the highest level. So it's very difficult to work, keep your independence, and do the right thing by the stock exchange, by the SEC, and by the country.
What has now happened is that there is tremendous pressure on him to leave the job of the regulator as well. What we really need at this moment is to build confidence in Sri Lanka and build confidence in the institutions in Sri Lanka so that investors would come in. But what is happening is the exact opposite of it. In a situation like this, where there is no confidence in the way the market is being run, no investor will be interested in looking at Colombo. So that is the sad reality.
Meanwhile, former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Chandra Jayaratne, addressing a letter to the chairman of CORP, Senior Minister D.W. Gunasekara, says that following the recent review of the SEC by CORP, the committee must take steps to ensure the independence and operational freedom of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
United National Party Southern Provincial Councillor Bandulal Bandarigoda staged a protest today, charging that his vehicle had stalled after pumping substandard fuel. The Southern Provincial Councillor noted that at the time of the incident, he was heading to the council to attend sessions.
Councillor Bandulal Bandarigoda pushed his vehicle from Kalegana to the Provincial Council in protest. Deputy Chairman of the Southern Provincial Council, Shamli Vitanachi, voiced his opposition to Councillor Bandarigoda's move. Bicycles and cars travel on the road. Some travel on foot. Our vehicles are operating well. Your party has to always keep on pushing. So continue pushing your vehicle. Subsequently to the Deputy Chairman leaving the location, the group including Councillor Bandulal Bandarigoda arrived at the Provincial Council. Once this government imported substandard petrol, then they imported substandard diesel. Another 30,000 metric tons of substandard fuel was imported on the 9th from the same company that imported the substandard diesel. Have the relevant authorities been punished? Has anyone been taken to courts? This government does not have a plan. Everything the government does is of low standard.
Deputy Leader of the United National Party parliamentarian Sajith Premadasa, addressing a public meeting in Horopatana today, said that the committee appointed to look into the importation of substandard diesel is protecting those who are corrupt.
This public meeting was held in Wahalkada, Horopatana, to garner support for UNP candidates contesting the upcoming North Central Provincial Council from the Anuradhapura district. Though we are aware that substandard diesel was imported to the country, there is a huge puzzle about the conduct of the three-member committee that was appointed to look into the matter. They have said that there are issues that gives rise to suspicion. They have only identified a problem relating to the diesel filter and not otherwise. I am responsibly saying that this three-member committee was appointed with the objective of protecting the diesel mafia that dragged the state and the private sector into the pits.